Hey everyone, and welcome to 121 in Flux. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we talk about movies on this show. This episode is the winner of the last Patreon vote. Every month our patrons get to pick between 4 films, and what was the theme for this month actually? I can't remember what...
Was it Vault Picks?
It was Vault Picks, you're right. What is the Vault, you might ask? Look at all the plugs are flying thick and fast at the start of this show. The Vault is something on Patreon where everyone in the $5 tier gets to submit movies to a watch list. It's kind of like, here's a to-do list for movies on the show, and every so often we'll pick one, or in this case we picked 4 of them and put them into a vote for our patrons, which they get every month. And the winner was My Neighbour Totoro. So this is what we're going to do. So this is the first Miyazaki film I've done here. Hayao Miyazaki. First studio... I always say Ghibli, but I believe the correct pronunciation is actually Ghibli.
Yeah, I never know.
Yeah.
I hear it said both ways so often that I don't think anyone cares anymore.
Yeah, I'm Team Ghibli. I think this falls under GIF and GIF for me. I think the hard G sounds better, so I'm going with it.
See, it's with GIF, I agree. Even though from a linguistic point of view, it makes sense to go with the soft G. This one's a bit different because it's for a foreign language, so I assume the rules are a bit different.
Why does it make sense for GIF to go with the soft G?
It just does to me.
But it stands for graphics.
Yeah, but it was designed with the soft G, right? When they were talking about it. So.
Yeah. The creator of it's an idiot though, so that's fine.
That's fair. That is fair.
It stands for graphics. It's a hard G, damn it. That's what it stands. So anyway, nice little tangent to start off on. So this is our first Miyazaki film, and we're going to talk about. We'll start spoiler free as we always do. We'll give you warning before we go into spoilers. But that is what we're going to do. So, My Neighbour Totoro is probably one of the more, and I use this term loosely here, as one of the more grounded Miyazaki films I've seen. I've seen a few of them, and this is one that I'd seen before. And I say grounded because it's actually set in Japan. It's not set in some mystical fantasy land or, some mystical future land or something like that. It's sort of present day for the time Japan in the countryside. It's very, very down to earth. It's about two young girls. Their mother's sick and in the hospital. Their father's just moved them out to this sort of farmland, and they're trying to adjust to this new life, and they're kind of worried about their mother coming home. And of course, they eventually meet and discover their neighbour, Totoro, as the title would suggest, who is a big cat-like entity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cat like I'm not sure if I get a cat vibe from.
It's definitely a cat thing. I've got backup material for this.
That's fair. I'm just at first glance I wouldn't go with cat.
You're not going to dispute the bus though, right?
Oh no, the bus is definitely a cat bus.
Right. Yes, right, good, right.
Grounded. No disputing on that.
Grounded still. I know it's a cat bus, but grounded. And that's kind of the film, and it's a very simple plot. It's short. It's like 85-90 minutes. And it's not a long time. So this is your first time watching this, so I will ask you the question. Connor, did you enjoy My Neighbour Totoro? And is the song from the end still stuck in your head?
I mean, given that I finished watching it about 10 minutes ago, yeah, of course it is.
Totoro, Totoro.
Ask me again in 3 days, it'll probably still be there.
Probably, yeah. So you enjoyed it then?
I did, yes. Not the first of the Ghibli movies I've watched, but for some reason, this is probably the biggest, most famous, but for some reason I'd just not got to this one before.
I don't know if it's just the most famous. I think Spirited Away's taken that crown.
Okay. I mean, I just, I think, Totoro's kind of their mascot, so it's kind of ingrained in the brand.
Oh, that's fair. I think it probably was before Spirited Away came out, but I feel like Spirited Away kind of... Like, I remember that breaking into, like, the Western audience, even though, like, they didn't typically do that at the time. I remember as a kid seeing that advertised, but I don't know... I'd never heard of Ghibli before that.
No, that's fair.
I've
seen that one, admittedly.
Admittedly, I never even really knew what Ghibli was after those adverts. It wasn't until I was older and I discovered these things. But I knew Spirited Away. Like, I recognised that movie.
That makes sense.
I remember that coming out. And I always got it confused as well from, like... Before I saw it, I always, like, had this weird memory problem where I confused it with... there was like a horse movie. Was it Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron or something like that?
Can't sound familiar.
It was something like that. I had Spirit in the title though, and that's what confused me. I always remember these two different animated movies, and I could never remember which one was which. Spirited Away is not the one with the horse.
No, it's definitely not. It's got lots of other things in it, but not a horse.
No, not a horse. Don't have big, weird cat-looking things in it. which is what this movie has.
It does. It does.
No, it's funny because I feel like people coming into this, if you're familiar with our show and you come and hear our opinions on a lot of things and you know us fairly well at this point, you probably are curious as to where I stand on these movies. This one in particular, because I'm not typically someone who enjoys anime, is the word. But I often have trouble referring to Ghibli as anime in the strictest sense. And I know it technically is because it's Japanese animation, right? If we're going with the loosest, broadest definition, sure, it fits. But it's not really what I think of when I think of anime.
I think when you think of anime, you think of the big giant concepts, right? And they get unwieldy and messy. Even
the animation style, I don't think this is not what I think of when I think of anime. It's definitely Japanese. Like I see the Japanese style, but this does not look like what I imagine when I close my eyes and see anime. I see like some stupid moment from Dragon Ball Z. I don't see this quiet,
It's quite a cheap anime, really.
Sure, but just this quiet drama that's in the countryside about these two daughters dealing with their mother being sick. It's actually quite a down to earth drama. Before you get to the big cat bus, the other stuff that's in it.
You keep have to say that before you get to the cat bus.
Well, that's when it all goes out the window, and all of a sudden you're in cuckoo land.
Yeah, no, can't argue with
that. If it indeed is real, and I'm sure we'll get to spoilers, we'll be talking about our interpretations of the film, because there's definitely some interpretations to have. And I've got a fun one that I found online as well that we're going to talk about.
Oh, you've been doing digging.
I did a little bit of digging. I was curious, because it was because like when it comes to movies like this, I always wonder like, is there some maybe some Japanese folklore that maybe like we wouldn't get, like they would like give it a different spin, but we wouldn't think of that because we just don't know about it. So I looked up, I found that interesting thing. It's a pretty popular theory about the film, but I assume you don't know it just because you've not seen it before. I didn't know it.
This is one where I'm familiar with the vague concept. I know roughly what it's about. I know of the creature designs. But I didn't know the nitty-gritty.
So, but no, I like the movie. I actually think it's probably my favourite Ghibli film that I've seen. Probably because it is the most down-to-earth one, and even though you do have some extreme concepts that come into play to an extent, they are very like, they represent something. I can analyse them, I can talk about what they mean, and I can even debate whether or not they're actually real, or if they're just the kids dealing with what's going on. Is this just a coping mechanism for them dealing with everything they're going through? So I actually, this one works the most for me out of all the ones I've seen.
That makes sense.
I dislike the rest. I mean, Spirited Away was pretty good, but there's a couple that I wasn't really into either.
Which ones do you not really like that much?
There's one that I can never remember how to pronounce. It's like the first word I can't pronounce. It's like the Valley of the Wind after it, though.
Oh, okay. I know the one you're on about.
That did nothing for me.
I've not seen that one, admittedly.
Hell's Moving Castle was whatever.
Yeah, I quite like that one.
Yeah,
it's surprising. I feel like that one should play into your steampunk sensibilities.
You would think, but I don't know. It didn't
work for you. Fair enough.
There was one I saw actually in the theaters a few years ago. I'm forgetting what it was called though. It was about a fish.
I remember seeing adverts for it at the time.
Yeah. It was like a girl in a fish pet that she sort of befriended. Ponyo. Was it Ponyo?
Yeah, that was it. I was gonna say it definitely began with a P.
Yeah, so that was fine. It was kind of like, I felt like it was like doing some of the same beats that this had already done.
So, ironically, how you feel about a lot of recent Pixar movies, then?
Okay, fun enough, yeah. Joe, I never actually I remember seeing on TV the first like 30 minutes of Kiki's Delivery Service, and I thought that was not bad from what I've seen, but I've never went back and finished it. But it seemed like a fun movie from what I did see. Because actually, I think the animation in this is pretty good. I like how
fantastic.
I like how it handles with wind and impact. Like whenever, for example, Totoro at one point jumps, and the way that it blows like the hair and the skirts back of the girls and.
No, you're right. It's the fabric physics, essentially.
Yes, the physics. Yes, not necessarily realistic physics.
That's how they refer to it in the engine when they're animating it.
Oh sure, yeah, but it's not even necessarily realistic physics. It's just really dynamic physics. Like I'm into it. Like the trees are reacting. The everything's reacting. It's great. Even at one point in the rain, the most famous scene in the movie is the bus stop with the rain and umbrellas, and you got all the drips of water and all that. It looks really good. And yeah, so no, I think it works.
I love the music. I think it's just fantastic score.
Yeah, the music's pretty good. No, I would
And
concur with that.
not even including that end song, which is just going to be stuck there for a good week or two.
Oh yeah, the end song's probably my least favorite part of the music. Not that it's bad, it's really in your face and like listen to this song.
It's really what I expect from anime. It's probably the most anime thing about this movie.
Yeah.
Is I feel like you'll get a movie and then you'll just get like a random metal song at the end or something. Like it'll just be really brash in your face all of a sudden.
I would describe this movie as a coming of age movie where the characters aren't actually ready to come of age yet.
Yeah, that works.
Because a lot of it, I think, is about them, like, they kind of have to grow up faster than they're supposed to because their mother's sick and they have to help their dad. But really, they're too young to actually do that, so they shouldn't, and they should kind of hold on to their childhood a little bit longer.
Especially the older child.
Yeah, and that's kind of what Totoro... Because, yeah, she's trying to be really mature, she's trying to be helpful, and she's the one making the lunches and stuff. And it's like, well, I mean, you're like 8. Like,
yeah.
You're not old enough to be doing this, not really.
No, definitely not.
So no, so that stuff works quite well, I think. Characters are good, designs are pretty good, music's good. Yeah, I have little to fault. Like I feel like one of my concerns with animation sometimes is I often find that it struggles with pacing with me. Like I feel like it'll go through too much plot too fast. I actually don't think this does that at all. I feel like it takes its time introducing the characters. Totoro doesn't even show up into the movie until about 30 minutes into it.
Yeah, it's a good third of the way through.
Yeah, it spends time introducing you to the two girls and the father and how close they are. So no, I think it's kind of touching. I think it's nice that there's some subtext to read into, but I think that pretty much wraps up the spoiler-free section of this. So we'll talk about spoilers, and so full spoilers. And I think obviously what we're getting at is that Totoro is kind of this way to cope, this childhood, like almost imaginary friend, perhaps, if he really doesn't exist. Because when the dad hears about him, he doesn't like. He understands that this is important to them, whether it's real or not. Like they need this to like kind of get through what they're going through, and he just like he gives them this explanation. Oh, you must have saw like a forest creature who a spirit who only is seen when he wants to be seen, and that's okay. That's why you can't see him right now. And he shows up, and I think it's really notable to me that when obviously May finds him early on, the younger sister, and the trees.
Which I think is important to in terms of it representing the childhood side of things.
Yeah.
And the older one is already kind of trying to be the adult, so she doesn't see it straight away.
No, and I think it's interesting. What I was getting at is that when she sees it first and they both see it, is at the bus stop because they go to get their dad. Like they're like, oh, Dad's getting home from work. He's going to be on the bus, so they go.
Yeah, bring in the umbrella because it's raining.
Yeah, and the bus comes and he's not there, and you think, oh God, what happened to Dad? And it's when they feel like lonely standing there in the rain and they're worried that their dad's not coming. No, it turns out he's just on the next bus. He's a little bit later. He's on the next bus. We see him in 5 minutes. It's fine, but it's when they feel kind of alone and scared out in the rain where Totoro kind of like just shows up beside them, and they give him an umbrella, and we get the big stomp and all the rain coming down, and then the cat bus shows up, and I like the over-the-top sci-fi sound effect on the door of the cat bus.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's very much like you get on a spaceship door opening.
And Totoro gets inside, and the cat goes off, and
it runs off with all its legs.
My favourite detail might be the fact that there's actually headlights coming out of its eyes.
Yeah, do you know what I really like about it is it's not just on the direction of the bus the headlights are. It's when it turns its eyes, to look, the headlights move as well.
Exactly, yeah. It looks really good. So I don't think that's a coincidence. And then the fact that we see Totoro again when May eventually goes missing. I mean, we see him before that. We see him, when they get up at night and like they grow the acorns and the trees.
But again, that was after a story of, she keeps sitting by them and they're not growing, and waiting for it to grow, and then okay, well here we go, something to come and help it along. Yeah,
but then later on, it's when May goes missing. Eventually, it's actually the first time in the movie actually where Satsuki sees him on her own, Because up until that point, it's always been with her little sister. This is the first time she sees a mum when she's worried about her sister, and like she's went missing because she's upset that her mum's, because they were promised that her mum was coming back from the hospital for the weekend, but now she won't because she's got a cold. And they're concerned because, you know, when she first went away, they tried to write it off as, oh, it's just a cold, she'll be fine. But now she's been in hospital for
and they don't
long.
know that it was just a cold at this point, because all they got was they got a telegram going, hey, phone the hospital, it's important.
Yeah, so that makes them worried, and that's when she sees Totoro, and Totoro helps her, and obviously we get the flying in the sky and all the rest of it, cat bus, which takes them to May and then takes them to the hospital, which is kind of the end of the movie, and they leave the acorn on the windowsill. And obviously the mother says, "Oh, I thought for a second there, I thought I saw her daughter's eyes, out there on the tree."
Yeah.
Now, do you want me to bring in the other theory, the popular dark theory to this movie?
Go on.
The dark theory. Alright, so I've got this from an article on Kotaku, although I'm sure it's many places. So, Totoro might be the god of death.
Okay.
It might be god of death. So, yeah. So, reading this from Kotaku. God of death. So, the persons that can see Totoro are actually close to death or already dead. What that means for the story is that when Mei goes missing and the sandal is found in the pond, Mei actually drowned. When Satsuki is asked about the sandal, she cannot face the truth and lies about it not being Mei's sandal. So Satsuki goes on a desperate search for Totoro, calling for him, and actually opens up the door to the realm of the dead herself. So she basically commits suicide. With Totoro's help, she finds her dead sister, and they together go to their mother's hospital. They are the only one who can actually see her and notice them is the mother, who's actually close to death herself. And that's why it's like a spiritual thing where the corn's left on the window.
Just to discount that as to she's the only one that can see them, the only other person in the room is the father, and he has got his back to the window. So
that is fair. That is
fair. Why would he see them?
But we're not done yet. In the ending scene, Satsuki and Mei don't have shadows, some say. I think it's debatable if that actually means anything, but
I think there's only a handful of times where I really noticed the shadows, personally. But maybe that's just me not noticing them in general.
Theory doesn't stop there, though. There's a famous murder case called the Sayama incident, and Totoro takes place in the Sayama Hills, in which two sisters turned up dead. The story goes that one of the girls said she saw a cat apparition before committing suicide. However, this is apparently believed to be an urban legend, was maybe attached to this theory to try and give it a bit more credibility. And it's worth mentioning, Ghibli have flat out denied this. They're like, no, don't say these dark things about our movie, like we do. And all I can think is that Miyazaki's sitting in a room somewhere just going, yes, I snuck in all this dark shit into the movie.
Well, see, this is interesting because, this is one where I'd not seen, but I knew some of the history of.
Yeah.
And I know for him, this was somewhat autobiographical, where when he was younger, his mother was ill.
Oh, okay.
And I know in interviews he said, he had to make this about two girls, because if it was two boys, he wouldn't have been able to do it, because it would have been too close to home.
Too close to home. Yeah. There was something else here, is that both the names for the daughters actually both mean May, like as in the month of May. I mean, May, M-E-I is kind of obvious, but Satsuki also means May in Japanese. And that's often referred to, there's a thing in Japan called the May Blues, because their work and school year start in April, so May is like the most depressing time of the year where everyone's like really depressed. So, and while that may not lead to the whole, God of Death thing, it does actually tie in with the idea that this movie is about dealing with depression, and the kids sort of dealing with their own, like almost their first bout of depression.
Yeah, I think that is undeniable.
Yeah.
That part of it. I think the death thing might be reaching. It's a nice theory.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not planting my flag and saying I believe this. I will say though, I'd like parts of it. I do kind of like the part about no, May actually drowned. I mean, I don't necessarily want May to die. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there is a sort of sad, bittersweet spirituality to it. If that's kind of what happened here. But I don't think it is. Don't.
Do you know the stuff that makes it weird for me is when they get back and they go and hug the old woman. Everything's normal. Everyone can see them. They don't seem very dead.
I agree. It's one of these things. It's one of these things where some people just really like this theory, so they've really been going with it for the last couple of decades.
To borrow from Legion recently, they've picked their theory and they're discounting anything that doesn't work.
Honestly, I think it's... I think if you want to believe this theory, if this is what the film says to you, I think it works. I don't think you can say to someone, "Oh, that last scene because they run to Granny disproves it." Like, okay, so the girls are now in like a death realm, and this is just kind of like.
I guess it just makes it harder for me to buy the theory when there's tangible connection with them with other people after all of that.
Yeah.
If the last we saw of them was on the tree, sure, absolutely, I'd go.
Well,
with
I mean, it's not a stretch to think that Granny's close to death. I mean,
no, but the kid's there as well, isn't he? Behind them.
Maybe get hit by a truck, and he was riding his bike looking for me. Get hit by a truck. He's dead too.
Sure, why
They're
not?
all dead. It's just the dad. The dad's on his own. He's just been left. Everyone around him is dead.
Sure, why not?
Look, I just thought it was interesting. I thought it'd be interesting to talk about.
I think it is interesting. I don't agree with it, but I think it's
There's also,
interesting.
with this article, there's a great image of someone's done of Totoro looking like a scary monster because he's the god of death. He's got all these teeth and he's got red eyes.
Did anyone hand him a scythe?
No, he's still holding the umbrella, but he's got like proper Wolverine-looking claws in the other hand.
Okay.
And also there's blood dripping from his mouth. I want the horror movie version of Totoro.
Of course you do.
This is great stuff. But no, I thought that was interesting. I think it's more likely that I mean, it doesn't necessarily explain the the corn getting there. Like if it's not real, right? Like I mean, if that's really there, then they somehow got to the hospital together.
Yeah, but I mean, they could have just got what there,
I could
by
have.
and I think ultimately, it's fine if it's just real and these things are there. It's a fairy tale essentially. So it's okay if they're just okay. There is a cat bus that took them there.
As much as I like that, I think the film connoisseur in me, to get really pretentious for a second, likes the idea that it's not real and likes the idea that it is just all representation for what they're going through and how they're coping with it.
I mean, because it is very fairy tale-esque, it can be both. It can be it's real, but it's a physical manifestation of what they're feeling.
Yeah, it can be real, it can not be real, it can be the god of death and everyone's dead.
Sure.
All are valid options if you want to go down those paths.
They are, I suppose. I need to do more reading on this death one. I'm not convinced.
Also, when on the tree at the end, the cat bus is also kind of like hunched up in the tree next to them. Kind of like he's got a vested interest. He wants to know what's going on.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, you ran all the way there. I think you want to know what's going on, right? Cats are nosy bastards.
See, I thought you'd be all for this death theory because you hate cats, whereas you're actually arguing that the cats are noble here and the cats are heroes and doing the right thing. Cat bus is a goddamn beacon of light and hope.
I don't hate cat. I mean, okay, I don't like them very much, but that's not the point of what they represent in the movie. Representing the depression and the struggling to grow up and the essentially the clinging to childhood. I like all of that.
Yeah, well, the cats don't represent the depression. The cats are the cheery thing to break them out of the depression.
No, I know, but it's a representation of the fact that they are suffering. Is what I mean by that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the coping mechanism, but the cats themselves don't represent
that's fine,
suffering.
Because even though I don't like cats, other people do.
And
clearly,
sane people.
And clearly, these girls like cats.
Aye, smart little girls. They'll grow up to be contributing valuable members of society.
I mean, I don't know about that.
I bet they are making big waves in the political world right now. They're out there changing the world now. These two girls will be a couple of years older than us, and they'll be changing the world. They'll be
I mean, maybe, who knows?
Changing lives.
We'll never know.
Changing lives with their cat bus.
How do you change the world with a cat bus?
Use it like Santa's sleigh and get around the entire planet to do all your secret little missions. They're doing covert operations to improve the world. Taking out an alt-right group here, a militia group here. I would
watch this movie, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. It'll be called Mayday.
Of course.
And the two Mays go around the world.
Yeah.
Taking out
on the magic cat bus.
On the magic cat bus. No, to go back to the start of the movie, I do want to kind of again compliment how it takes its time introducing the characters and how they get to this house, and it's kind of like interesting, and you've got the moldy pillar which at one point they almost knock down the entire porch, and they're like, oh no, let's just balance this back. And again, it's a delicate balance of life, and the idea that if they just tumble, they'll all go spiraling, and like this won't work. They'll all be depressed. They'll all fall apart.
Yeah. And you have then the introduction of the fantasy side of things with the dust mites.
Yes. Interestingly, the subtitles and the English audio dialogue were both vastly different for them. One was like soot demons, and the other one was dust bunnies or something like that.
Dust bunnies, soot gremlins?
Soot gremlins, yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah.
Both wildly different.
But again, it was this idea that once Granny comes along, it's like, hey, you can see them because you're kids, and I think it's interesting that they kind of go away over the movie for a lot until towards the end again, where you see them. Mm-hmm. When you see them again properly when Satsuki's going through the tunnel to find Totoro at the end.
Yeah.
And they're pretty much gone until that point, which is as she's not really being very childlike for most of the movie.
Yeah, and obviously at the end, like, we find out, oh no, the mum's fine, she actually does just have a cold, so she's not been let out at the weekend, and she'll be home at some point soon.
She's still ill with whatever she has, but...
Yeah, but we see, if you pay attention to the credits, you actually get, like, still images of, like, her coming home, and the daughter's welcoming her back, and various other things. Also, apparently, like an all-girls like baseball team versus an all-boys baseball team at the school at one point. Like, I noticed that image stood out to me because it was just so different. It was like, okay.
Just saying, hey, life goes on.
Life goes on. They're doing things. This is an opportunity. They should have actually had the girls growing older in the credits and these still images. And then the last, image of them is like them holding miniguns or something like that. Out of the cat
Always
bus.
with the miniguns.
There's something about someone who's far too small to hold a minigun holding a minigun that really, really works for me.
I can't argue with it. Miniguns improve most things. I'm not sure miniguns improve this one, though.
Oh, come on. A few turrets on the cat bus, I think, would have just livened it up.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm down. Well, what can I say?
Cat war bus. Not just cat bus, cat war bus.
I think that'd be an interesting concept to base a movie around.
Maybe. It's got a very consistent sort of color palette. It's very kind of lush, sort of slight watercoloring, but not like too extreme where it's all kind of like washed out. It's got a very kind of
lots of greens, of course, and variations apart greens and that sort of greeny blue.
Yeah, I think also the animation of like. Mouths. Whenever May like screams about something, and you just see like the entire mouth open, or tongue's going, and you see the.
It's very expressive.
It's very, very expressive. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. But almost overly expressive for a stylistic choice. Because as much as this is grounded, it still kind of amps up a few things here or there to give it the emotion.
No, you're right, because a lot of the animation plays very naturally, right? It plays very realistically. Even the unreal elements like Totoro and the cat bus still feel like they have a grounded design to them. And then, to some extent, they interact with the world in all the same ways.
Yeah, cat bus with 10 legs.
Right, but in terms of the way it interacts in the animation.
Yeah.
It still behaves in the same way as everything else, but then you do have like when the mouth is open really wide, that it goes very cartoony to use that, and it feels unnatural compared to the rest of the style.
I think it works because it typically only does it with the kids.
Yeah,
it's the idea that they are kind of like more boisterous and expressive, and
it is because what I mean is even when Totoro opens his mouth really widely. It still fits his face, whereas when the kids do it, it often feels like the face stretches, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So it feels like it almost breaks its own rules a little bit when it does that.
But again, I think that's tied into the idea that to a kid, their imagination's everything. Everything's bigger than more grandiose than it actually is. So going with the idea of their imagination, conjuring up Totoro and his little friends in the cat bus. There's just lots of little things like that. Because I think you feel the adventure when they're running through the house at the start and they're chasing the dust mites all around the house. Which, by the way, if you've got like arachnophobia, I mean, they're not spiders, but they look enough like spiders in this scene.
Do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, a swarm of spiders, I think. Because the way they all kind of move together, like a swarm. Like, dust mites don't actually...
I get that, but, I didn't get like a legs feeling. Like, for a lot of people with the spiders, it's the way they move.
I suppose. I mean, I don't have arachnophobia.
Like they felt more like they were rolling to me. Rolling and blowing rather than scuttling.
Yeah, I think it was the way that they were all together and they moved in a mass that gave me the kind of the swarm of spiders kind of feel.
Okay, interesting.
It
never crossed my mind.
May not affect anyone. I don't care. I'm not arachnophobic.
Not me either.
I'm just saying, like, when I saw it, I thought, nah, like the little girl at 4 wouldn't run towards this. This is to a 4-year-old. This is terrifying shit.
I mean, fair enough.
Because they're like covering the entire wall, and the entire wall's moving. These dust mites. So like,
yeah.
Nah, I'm not walking towards that. I'm not scared of it unnaturally. But I'm not walking towards that.
It's funny, I was just mentioned. I'm not scared of spiders. I jumped out of my skin at one about 10 minutes before we started recording.
Oh, aye.
I went away to get a drink. I came back and sat down. And as I sat down, I noticed one was come down from the ceiling. It was dangling like here in front of my face. And it wasn't that it was a spider. It was just, oh shit, there's something in front of my face. As I sat down, I was like, what the hell was that? My God, it shit me up.
Yeah, that spider that was on the loose on a review like a month ago, still on the prowl.
I lost that.
Yeah.
And I never saw it again, and it's fine.
Oh yeah, it's just had babies somewhere. There's just tons.
It doesn't bother me. I see, there tends to be a few spiders in the room. There was one on the ceiling, yesterday. That I'm just like, yeah, I'm happy to leave it. I'll get rid of any flies or anything else. They don't bother me.
Yeah, so I mean that's My Neighbour Totoro. So it's actually a very simple plot. It's, they're worried about the mum. Yeah. They're excited that she's coming home for the weekend. They want corn to make her feel better, and then she can't come home. They get worried. May runs off. She gets lost, and then Satsuki goes running after her, and we get the Magic Cat Bus adventure. And it turns out her mum's okay. The whole movie's about them worrying about it when it turned out it was going to be okay.
Yeah, definitely.
It's very light on actual plot, is I guess what I'm saying. There's not actually a lot of big things that happen in terms of.
No, you're right, and in the same way they over exaggerate all the the expressive features, and they over worry about what's actually going on.
Yeah. So no, I think it's clear that this is a personal film. It's not one that's there to be the big like spectacle and whatever else. Even if you do have a cat bus, and even if you do think that they're all dead, I still don't think it's a personal film.
Oh, absolutely.
There's no way that this wasn't made with emotion. There's emotion in there. So no, but that's My Neighbour Totoro. So I guess we'll rate the film out of 10. So what were you giving it?
I think I'll go with an 8.5 for now.
Solid 8 for me. I feel like it's my favourite Ghibli film, which means that people are screaming at their screens right now because like, what, your favourite one's an 8 out of 10? How dare you? And I'm like, yeah, like I'm not like animation tends to have to work a little bit harder for me. Like there's a few that I really hold in high regard, and then the ceiling tends to be a bit lower for animation, where it really has to do something special to make me kind of go yes.
Fair enough.
So yeah, but no, solid 8. It's just really good stuff. And if you got 90 minutes and you want a heartwarming little story of childhood adventure and trying to avoid growing up too soon, then I think this works for you.
Less heartwarming if you think they all die at the end.
Yeah, but that gives it the dramatic weight. That gives it the okay, now it's really about something.
I feel like that undermines the point of the story for me.
Yeah, like no, it does. Well, that's the thing. If you believe this, then the point of the story is completely different. It doesn't undermine it. It's just a completely different point.
Yeah, but you saying there, it gives it weight. I feel like that really undermines what the actual obvious representation of.
It gives it a different weight.
Yeah. Okay.
It doesn't work in conjunction with the don't grow up too fast. If you believe they all die at the end, then it's more of a like they all worried too much and now they're all dead because they let it get to them. They didn't cope with it. This was the opposite of coping with it.
I think that's my problem, is it doesn't really track with the messaging of the rest of the movie.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I'm sure many people have written more in-depth things on that theory about this being the god of
I'm
death.
sure they
and all the
have,
rest
and
of
of course this was just me hearing about it for the first time, and
yes,
and gut reaction.
yeah. But of course, I think most people probably want to believe it's not that, because then it's a happy ending and everything's cheery and it's nice and.
Oh, you know me, I don't give a shit about happy endings.
I'm well aware of that. But that is My Neighbour Totoro. So that has been 1.21 in Flux, and we will be back soon. We will be back. The next episode will be the next half of the top 50 movies of the 1990s, the top 25 of that. That'll be coming later this week. And of course, check out patreon.com/MailFuzzTV for all the bonuses we mentioned, including the monthly votes, access to the vault so you can submit films. Of course, you can actually see what the vault list is itself, no matter who you are. You can click on the link in the description, and you can see what the list is. But to actually submit films to it, you have to be a patron. There's other bonuses over there as well, so check out all that stuff. But that is us. So you can support us that way. You can support us by liking, subscribing, dinging the bell thingamajig, which people need to do now to always get notifications for the things, and you can comment and let us know what you think of Totoro and how catchy that damn song is at the end. So all these things, let us know. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching movies, guys, and we'll see you next time.